everybody, my name is Cheri. Welcome to my stamp studio. I'm going to do something a little bit unusual. It seems like almost for the whole of August I have been focusing on sneak peeks from the upcoming holiday catalog that does start on September 6th. And if you join me on September 6th, I will be able to show you the inside of the catalog. So I'll do my catalog walkthrough, which is something typical that I do for the starts of most mini catalogs. Sometimes I do it for the annual, but usually for the beginnings and the ends of catalogs and the beginning of mini catalogs. I don't usually have as much stuff at the start of an annual catalog, but I'll go through and show you everything I've made. Sometimes it's just bits. If you saw the last tutorial I posted, it was for the festive tags, and I used a lot of the bits that I had been working with but hadn't really finished anything. I'll have some catalog kickoff specials, but for this video I'm going to go back to the annual catalog because I haven't used it a lot. I had my in-person stamp camp and I wanted to get them a couple of annual catalog things, so I'm going to go ahead and do those tutorials, give you something to look at. Other than that, I know you're all working on your list for catalog kickoff day, so I will, with this tutorial in that email, I am going to I think have some sneaks. I won't have everything ready for September 6th, but I'll start building you up for that, so you'll start to be able to get prepared. So for this, I'm going to do Darling Details. I have had this bundle for a while now, and I just hadn't gotten around to using it, and here's why. I'll tell you why, and then I'm going to show you what I did with it. So when you look at sometimes in the catalog, like in my head, this was a spring set. Kind of, I got it in the spring or, you know, early summer, May-ish. And when you look at it here, like the colors, they're just spring, right? It's flowers, it's springy, but it doesn't have to be. And sometimes we trap ourselves into using a stamp set because that's the way that we see it. But it doesn't have to be, because what's everybody, well, if you're in the Midwest, I think it's really a Midwest thing. If you're in the Midwest and you go to the grocery right now, outside the door, we have mums. We have mums and mums and mums and mums. I'm not buying my mums this weekend. Typically, that's the thing we do at Labor Day weekend. Everybody starts decorating for fall, but it's going to be in the high 90s next week. I'm not going to let my mums die. If they're going to die, they're going to die at the grocery, and then I'm going to buy them when they get their new ones in. But this kind of looks like a mum, yeah? So I'm going to make this into a fall set, because the only reason that I happen to think it's a spring set is because the Stampin' Up! Artist showed it to me that way. So if I take those colors away, and we do that to ourselves, we have a preconceived notion of what a stamp set is sometimes. So I'm just going to switch it, and I'm going to turn it into my little fall mum set. So don't see this, and come along with me, and we're going to transform the Darling Details into a fall set. And if you live overseas, we don't just call it fall. We interchange autumn and fall, so we call it both. The other thing I love about this set is it has this frame, the frame I'm going to use, and then it has this little scallopy here. I really wanted to use this one, but I wanted to be a paper saver, and I'm going to show you why. So I ended up using some of the other little cutouts, and then it also has this one that I didn't use, and then all of the ones that will cut out your images. I didn't need those. So let's go. It's a really quick card. It's a really happy card. It's very fall, very autumn. So let's just go ahead and do our die cutting, and we'll get that out of the way. So this is a piece of our new shimmer paper, and it is in, I think that's probably copper. Yeah. So the copper is a new color with copper and pebbled path, and those are our in colors. And then the pecan pie is a new color. So it's taken me a minute to get used to all of them, but that is the way they roll. At the beginning, they were all new colors and couldn't remember what color was what color. So this I have cut, I don't remember the size, and it doesn't really matter. It just needs to be bigger. This is the smaller of the frames, and then this needs to be centered on there because we're just gonna work with that size. You can see where I used that fun new Christmas tree die. So if you want to see that, you can go watch the festive tags video. So I'm going to put this on here, and then I'm paper saver. Remember, I'm going to use that middle piece, but it doesn't work so well sometimes if you put them all on at once, because it doesn't get quite in the middle. I'll show you what I mean. So then they don't cut all the way through, and you spend all your time trying to gently poke them out. So this is just faster. I have this with this lovely like lacy frame, and then these are in the bag because of camp. I didn't have, those of you that follow me know that my husband does most of the die cutting for my classes. So I went to Vegas and he had already caught up with all of the stuff. I can't open this. For Try It class that I had ready. And he wanted me to have more, but I just ran out of time. You can only design, there's only so many hours in a day and my hours had been used up. So I went away. And since he didn't have anything to do, I was like, just swim. Just relax. My husband has a hard time relaxing. So he painted my island and stained it. Started a kitchen renovation. New colors, new stain on all of our butcher block. So for camp, where I normally have all of my die cutting stuff, we couldn't die cut because he said, remember, you can't put anything on this island. And I had camp on Tuesday, which is odd. Normally I have camp on Friday, but it had been moved. That's why my die cutting stuff, normally it's on a little stand, but it had to be on in the little bags. So I'm gonna pop these out of here. So these are ready. Now let's just do our stamping. So I have a piece of pecan pie that will be our card base, and then a piece of vanilla, because I think the vanilla has a nice warm tone to it for autumn colors. So this is cut 4 by 5 1/4. So I'm gonna put this on here. I'm gonna kind of lay it straight. I'm gonna lay this on here. So we'll stamp this on here and then we'll be able to not stamp our stuff on top of it. It'll leave us a nice little break. If you stamp it second, then you just have to hope that it's in the right spot, but this way we'll be able to stamp around it. And then we're just gonna fill this whole background with some fun fall colored flowers. So I'm gonna start with pecan pie with my largest because that's the color of our background. You always wanna start with your largest flowers first because then you can kind of fill in with the smaller ones. And there's one flower that's also large-ish, not as large as this one, so I want to make sure, and they can overlap, so you don't have to worry about that, because that looks good. So there's our pecan pie. Now we're going to go to Wild Wheat, again, another fun kind of autumn flavored color. You can see this one's quite a lot smaller. Wild Wheat's a funny color I have found. It looks pretty green when you use it like this, but it does dry yellower. It's already looking very autumn. Now let's do the overstamps, and for those I'm going to go copper clay. I love to two-step stamp. I'm going to do both of them in copper clay, so it kind of ties them together. Make sure you get that one on there. You get going, and then get this one. And then we have two little pieces. So I'm going to go with the bigger one first. Lost Lagoon will be my green. I didn't want it to be green because, you know, it's fall, and so it has a little bit of a swoopy leaf, which can kind of fill in between all of these areas. And you don't want them to all go the same direction, so kind of make sure that you're twisting and turning them to fill in the areas. And also make sure that you're going off the edge, because especially with the leaf, you don't want it to all be on or all be off, because you don't want that end of the stick on all of it. So on a couple, I'm going to make sure it kind of matches up. And I don't want too many of them. Of the leaf, that's the thing I want the least of. In fact, I'm going to stop on that one. And then I have Moody Mauve and a tiny little accent flower. And I'll probably have the most of these. And I'm going to try to group them in areas together. So like over here, oops, stamped right on top of my case. I'll put 4. And then right here in the middle where we have our nice little open spot, I want to leave that open. Whoops, helps if you stamp all the way down. So I want to leave some open areas. I'm not stamping very well. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm looking to where I might add something next and not pressing. But the nice thing about this is it doesn't even matter. It's a great way to create your own designer series paper. And then maybe one right there. The frame's going to cover up a lot of this, so you want to make sure you have enough everywhere so it shows when you put the frame on. Because see, when you put this on, a lot of that's going to go. So I am going to add one right there, maybe 2. Make sure they show. Now I have some. This comes in the in colors, so it has almost all the colors that we added on here except for Lost Lagoon. Let me just pull some off. This is the Moody Mauve. Pull this on here. So Boho Blue is an in color, but back when I did my Try It class, apparently I really liked Boho Blue. I used it all up in the gems. I'm going to use it in a second. So there's no blue gems. And I ordered packages and packages of them because, you know, when you have 100 people, when you need 100 of gems, and then I used them all up. And then apparently I used all of the Boho Blue. So sometimes I'm like, what is the last color? And I have to look over in my paper thing where I keep all of the in color paper together to remember what even was the last color. Because I just have 4 of everything. I have lots of the ribbon or twine and lots of the embellishments, just none of the missing 5th color, the mystery color, apparently back then. And then because I feel like it was a color a long time ago because we had the little cut and emboss machine that came in the blue. I'm just going to tie a whimsical twine thing. It kind of feels like hay bales. Again, it's my Midwest autumn thing going on here. And then I'm going to pop this up so it's up in the air. You guys remember those die cuts that we did just a minute ago with the little leaves? We're going to tuck those under. Makes it easier to tuck if this is up. Plus, when you have these little dots, they're easier to see if it's raised up and it has some space in between it. Here are my cicadas. That's my ode to the end of the Indiana summer. But I'm pretending summer's not over because if it's going to be in the 90s next week, we can just keep stretching on. Although my nephew's wedding is next week and it's outdoors because you know it's supposed to be fall. I think the kids forget that summer in Indiana and September in Indiana is not promised to be any kind of cool. When my daughter played golf, we learned that. Although you can have a stray day where it can be cool. So just going to add a little bit of adhesive to the end of these. If there's 4 of them fit in the middle, you could do more. And I thought about doing a gold color or something that would fit. But why waste this beautiful paper? Because it was the middle here. And you just kind of have to do it dependent on where this fell. Because I think on my other one, I have a bigger one here, but if I put a big one down here, then it's going to cover up my words. And that little one fits just perfect there. And then we have our pecan piece here. The pecan and the copper clay play nicely with each other. When we lose the copper clay in a couple of years, because it's an in color, I will be sad because they're a nice fit with each other. The colors of autumn are my favorite. You know, my kitchen renovation, that's the colors he went with. We had discussed it. It wasn't like he picked them willy-nilly. And then, you know, lots of my embellishments that are missing the blues. This is the Pebbled Path. I didn't use Pebbled Path either. So I need, let's do the mauve and the copper and the wild wheat. I'm just going to put 3 because there's already a lot going on. You know, normally I like lots of embellishments, but there is a lot going on in this card. I'm going to add just a tiny bit of adhesive right here so that grabs itself down. I don't like it joining up in the air like that. Isn't that fun? Not springy at all. It does look like some mums that I can go pick up once the grocery store is done tending to them, so I don't kill them off. They're a little temperamental because, you know, they come in a small pot. Not small, I usually get a big one, but they dry up pretty fast when it decides that it's really not. Oh, and I did do this. See this? But I didn't do it till the end because there's no sense in wasting your Wink of Stella on stuff that's going to get covered up. So I just kind of put it on some of them, and I didn't even do it on all of them because if you just use your Wink of Stella on some flower bits, it's a little bit more noticeable. When you do it on everything, and you don't notice it as much. This way it just kind of catches on some. I know it's one of those things that's kind of hard to see on camera. It's something I like to do in my card club because then y'all do it and you can see it better. This one, it's dry, so maybe I can catch it. It gives it the look of the paper. I love this new paper. It's everything on this annual catalog. So if you feel like shopping over Labor Day weekend, you can go ahead and get it, and then September rewards will have started. And I'm doing my catalog kickoff specials even though the catalog hasn't started, just to go ahead and reward those of you who feel like you might want to shop. I did you know, Rifle Paper Company, that's where I got the idea. They've started their Labor Day specials, so I've already shopped. I may have to shop again. I love me some Rifle Paper Company. So everybody have a great day, and I'll catch you back here later. Make sure you do join me on September 6th for that catalog walkthrough and my catalog kickoff specials. Everybody have a great day. Bye.